Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Better together.
Welcome to the show that takes a different look at local sports. This is Out of Left Field, and I'm Ken Cara. Did you know there's a town in Pennsylvania called Mary D? Did you know in that town there's a gym called the Javelin Factory that's producing state champions? And did you know one of the instructors at that gym is a coach for the Tamaqua area track and field team?
I'm willing to bet that a lot of you don't know too much about the sport of javelin throwing. Well, neither did I until I went to the land of the flying javelin, also known as the land of the running water, also known as Tamaqua. Tamaqua Area High School has produced 2 state champions recently and 2 state silver medalists. The Blue Raiders and Lady Raiders know what they're talking about, and I kind of do too, and that's thanks to Tamaqua Area's athletes and coaches. But I had to start with some pretty basics. Tell me about the javelin. Do you go out? Do you buy your own javelin? How does this work? What's the next thing that happens?
We had javelins here, but from his previous throwers, we had some good ones. So as you get better, you kind of evolve to a stiffer javelin.
So you use the javelins that are Tamaqua area javelins?
Yeah.
Excuse my ignorance in this. Okay, tell me about the javelin. I mean, is it awkward getting used to? What about it? It's very intimidating.
It is awkward. Like I said, when you're trying to put your body in those positions, it takes a long time, but I don't know, it's really interesting. It's different. There's a lot of technique to it.
What do you think people don't understand about it, maybe? Like I said, it gets a lot of press here in Tamaqua. Everyone's good at it, but what do you think people don't understand about it?
The technicality of it. I think a lot of people see it as just you get up and throw, and that's what I thought at the beginning, but I learned how much goes into it and how much is behind it.
That's Paige Demetriotis, a past District 11 champion for Tamaqua who will be throwing the javelin at the Division I college level at the University of Pittsburgh. When she said his javelins, she was referring to her coach, John Kochmar. Many credit Kochmar with helping stuff Tamaqua area's trophy case with loot thanks to the javelin.
We've had a little bit of javelin success, but really in probably the last 8 years was really when it took off. I mean, Coach Sakash at the beginning was here by himself. That was Casey Wagner came through her first year, and then right after he was here for the first year, she ended up going to states and doing really special things with us. And then Coach Kochmar came in right after that. And when he came in, he started specializing in more and more technique. He again, pull references is big. He pulled Barry Cromis. Barry Cromis is a USA athlete, so he's up at East Stroudsburg. Those guys got together, start working with some of these guys and girls here, and that took our program off. And they work with some people even outside the program that have been state medalists and state champs. So it's been neat being even with him, with the javelin, and just seeing everything explode.
What works with him? Why is he having success?
I think he's very knowledgeable, and he knows how to explain things in different ways, and he always knows how to get in your head. He always knows what you're thinking. He's good at what he does.
Kochmar is a Jedi master, but he doesn't have a lightsaber. He has a javelin, and he's willing to teach anyone the secrets of the Force if they're willing to listen. And I mean anyone. Kochmar threw the javelin in high school, and so did his father. In fact, his dad is the one who asked him to coach. His father's goddaughter, Casey Wagner, needed a javelin coach at Tamaqua. Wagner became Kochmar's first student, and she would win a state silver medal, but her importance to the program goes way beyond that accomplishment. Kochmar would go to basketball games to look for athletes. When he found an athlete he thought would have success throwing the javelin, he'd ask Wagner to talk with them. One of the athletes that signed up was Allison Updike. I asked Kochmar if Wagner's success helped build up the sport at Tamaqua.
How much did her success help build it, though? You think since she was so successful, all of a sudden other kids were like, all right.
Yeah, and and plus she's she's just a friendly person, so kids weren't, intimidated, like I said, Allison came by and she had success. Actually at one point they're back-to-back junior national champions. Casey was a freshman in college when she won it, and Allison was a junior in high school the next year. So, that's pretty cool.
Here's sort of a Tamaqua area javelin lineage. When Casey Wagner was a senior, Allison Updike was a freshman. Updike went on to win a state gold medal for Tamaqua. During Updike's junior year at Tamaqua area, another freshman started throwing named Christine Streisel, who would also go on to win a gold medal at states. When Streisel was a junior, Paige Demetriotis was throwing as a freshman. The year after that, Morgan Boyle picked up the javelin. Boyle won the District 11 Javelin Championship and was a state medalist in 2015. So that brings us to the present. Wait, I left out Tyler Hope on the boys' side, who took home silver at states in 2012. All of these Tamaqua greats had to start somewhere.
What was it like when you first started throwing the javelin? What was the challenges of it? What was it like those first few weeks?
Oh, my first meet, I remember I threw 65 feet, and I turned to my mom and I said, I should have played softball, Mom. I said, I should have played softball. And she just said, keep with it, you'll get better, you'll get better. And I did, and it's been working out for me so far.
What was it like the first few times doing javelin?
It's completely foreign. They always say you're trying to put your body in uncomfortable positions and making them feel comfortable. So you're everything seems so awkward, and it's really strange at first, but you start to get an idea for it after a while.
How did you get comfortable? I mean, when did what was the secret for you to make the step from, okay, I'm going to try this, to, okay, I might be good at this?
Yeah, John and Barry, my two coaches, they drill like crazy, and I think it's just all the drilling that you can kind of get your body used to those positions, so that when it comes to time to throw, that you can hit them.
What's a drill for like javelin? Can you explain one to me? Like
a lot of times you want to try to work on flipping your heel over so you can get your hips through. So sometimes we'd have a solo cup and we try to kick it over with our foot, which was.
How long do you do that for?
We did it a lot. It was, yeah, almost in every drill, that's like a key component.
While Coach Mar was busy recording some of his athletes' form with his high-tech tablet, he asked Demetriotis to show some of his new throwers her old-school logbook.
It's your log, and most people, if anybody that's any time you go to any kind of sporting thing where there's somebody speaking or something, they're going to tell you that they're going to have a book and write stuff down, because you don't remember if you don't write it down. You write it down immediately. So like I told the one guy here sitting, I said, bring your notebook. I said, now if you have a good throw, what was I thinking? Write it down. And then you can resort back to it. If you get in a funk, or when you get some kind of slump, or you can resort back to it and. Just keep going back to it, try to keep that state of mind, find the zone, basically.
Thrower's log, April 2015. Lesson 1 of javelin throwing. Don't be embarrassed.
What would be advice number 1 if I was here first day and I was going to the factory? What would you tell me?
Don't be embarrassed. Don't, everybody here is going to look, you're going to feel like you're dumb or stupid. Everybody here looked like that at one point. We all started there. Somewhere along the lines we had trouble with the drill, and don't get frustrated, because just be patient, because somebody might catch right off the first 2 steps, they're good, and you're struggling. Well, they might struggle with step 3, where and then you'll pass them. Just be patient, and it'll happen.
Coach Mar had a lot of other tips for me, but here's one I'll definitely jot down from day 1 in my logbook.
And just take all your energy, by turning his foot over, releasing that hip. Basically a soccer ball throw. See what I'm saying, a soccer ball throw?
I played soccer, that's good.
You see what I'm saying? That's what it is, just coming in sideways, but at the end, you just can't get in fast enough. At the end, everything's going that way. You know what I mean? Exactly what you want. You want to use the big muscles, your legs, your core. The old saying, if your arms are stronger than your legs, you walk on your head and throw with your feet. So I'd throw that in there, but here you go, good luck.
Well, it went straight. I was more worried it was going to hit you.
You look like everybody else when they started, basically, yeah. But, you got to relax. See how by my eye, that's what I say. Yeah, like, first of all, the grip, right? You want to use the core to your advantage, that's why it's there. See how it's by my eye, so relaxed I am. Like, all your hands do is so the fingers are so it don't fall out of your hand. You don't want to do this. Just tighten up, nice and relaxed, and then how you get your height is hit behind your block. Base, boom, that's how the height of the javelin comes. We don't create it. Create it makes us get to the ground slow with our left leg. It's created by hitting behind your block. A lot of people think you got to create the height. You know what I mean? You come in and you look out and that's all I got.
I received an email from John Kochmar's mother after doing this story, and she said that John's father passed away in 2006 and would have been so proud of his son and his accomplishments. Up next on Out of Left Field, the story of how the Bethlehem brawler battled back from injury to get back in the ring.
Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazelton Campus. Better together.
Welcome back to Out of Left Field on SSP TV and SSPTV.com. Mike Liberto is a pretty good MMA fighter. He's a professional. I'm sure he's received several compliments on his fighting ability, but one of the most important compliments he ever received came from a doctor who called him a perfect patient. This is a story of the Bethlehem Brawler and how our sponsor, Coordinated Health, helped him out.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Market Bulls, Bennett Orchards, and Marshall Collins.
Picture a steel mill. What do you see? Fire? Think of a bright orangish red brew blasting away impurities and in the process making one of the toughest materials, steel. Michael Liberto grew up in a town known for steel. He says he was a tough kid who was always around sports. His stepfather coached youth football, baseball, and wrestling.
My mom didn't have to go to the practices with us because, you know, my dad was a coach, but my mom was great. She went along. She was at every football game growing up. She was at every wrestling match. I never missed anything. She still comes to all my fights, but she always had dinner on the table when we get home. It was kind of weird because we'd eat dinner at like 8 o'clock after football practice and everything, and then we'd have to do, you know, our schoolwork. You know, it was a busy, hectic schedule growing up. My brother was a better wrestler than me, but when it came to football, I mean, every year I played, I led my team in touchdowns and tackles, so I was very gifted. I had a lot of aggression. I was a very rambunctious kid, and I was energetic, so ADHD, so like that like helped me out like along the way, I guess. Like anything that I was like really interested in, like I definitely gravitated toward, and I loved playing football and wrestling.
Actually, you diagnosed ADHD? Like you?
Yeah, I'm diagnosed ADHD.
Okay, so that definitely. So did sports and that helped you?
Absolutely. Without sports, you know, my poor mother then, you know, because it would poop me out at the end of the night, and I'd be ready for bed. But if not, I'd be all over the house, you know.
With a competitive fire that would help mold the Bethlehem Brawler glowing, Liberto gave up football during his senior year of high school to focus on one thing, winning a state championship in wrestling. Liberto finished 5th in the state his senior year in wrestling. He missed his goal of a state title, but finished his career with 100 wins and a state medal. One of his favorite athletic memories from high school happened on the football field.
My junior year, I didn't play football my senior, but my junior year, they let me play running back. And I was a running back all my life, but there was this other kid there, and for some reason, I thought I was a better athlete than him and better running back. And I think they realized that for the next season, so they started me at running back. I had like 2 touchdowns, the game-winning touchdown in overtime, and I had like 3 sacks that game. It was the last game of the season, but I remember waking up in the morning, my mom was cooking breakfast, and I was like, what's going on? And like my football team wasn't that good that year. We were like 2-6 or something, and she's like, did you read the paper? And it said Liberto, Liberty, and that was the first time I ever seen my name in captions in the paper, so I was just super stoked, and like I got a good breakfast, and my mom was super happy. You know?
Mom said she was a good cook. I mean, it is the time you mentioned food, so.
Yeah, oh yeah, she has to be.
That same year that Liberto read his name in print, the family got news they didn't want to receive. The fire started to burn hot in Liberto's life, and he really started to feel the heat after high school.
I got lost in life, I would say. I had, you know, my father, during my high school junior year, he was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, and I took it very wrong. I didn't know how to deal with it, with my feelings and stuff, and I just, you know, went the wrong way in life. I was partying a lot and stuff.
When Liberto was 26 years old, his stepfather, John Fenstemacher, passed away.
When he was diagnosed, the doctor said he had a year left, but they put him on a ventilator, and he was a fighter, man. He was God rest his soul. He was a very stubborn man, and he fought.
Liberto spent time talking about his stepfather's athletic accomplishments, but he spent even more time talking about the impact his stepfather made coaching local kids.
I knew my father was well respected. His knowledge of sports and his knowledge of just education and kids responded well to him. Like, he demanded respect from all kids. I mean, sometimes when I was growing up, there's just another story. When I was growing up, we would have to go pick up the less fortunate kids, some of them growing up like in the projects and stuff, and sometimes they wouldn't be there, and there was just one heavyweight, Jose, and I remember he would drop me off because he would have to go pick up another kid, and I'd stand there and I would wait for Jose, and I'd be like in the middle of the hood, and I'd be like, oh my God, but like these kids respected him. That's the type of person my father was, you know. He would go out of his way to help the inner city kids and help any kid, man. He was very well respected.
The fires continued, and eventually, surrounded by a metal cage, the Bethlehem Brawler emerged as an MMA fighter.
I was going through like a breakup, and like I was kind of heavy. Like I was 250 pounds. I was out of shape, and like I always watched fighting on TV, and I always wanted to do it. And I just said one day, hey, I'm gonna do this. And I showed up in the gym. I was like 250 pounds. In a month, I lost 35 pounds. It came natural to me because of my muscle memory, and I got back into it. And 3 months later, I was in a cage and I was fighting, and here I am.
Liberto won 2 amateur bouts and decided it was time to go pro.
My one professor, we call our jiu-jitsu instructors professors, he said, you need to go down to Florida to train. So I got sent down there. This gym asked me to come down, Augusta Hernandez in Florida, and I went down, and my first training session there, I blew out my knee.
Were you ever injured in your career?
No, never.
Never had an injury?
I've never had an injury. But the one thing, as soon as I felt that injury, like I knew immediately there was something definitely wrong.
Liberto tore his MCL and ACL. The ligament pulled off the bone, and Liberto says it was the most extreme pain he ever felt in his life. One doctor wanted to use a tendon from his hamstring to help repair the injury. Liberto would have to rehab 2 parts of his body if he went that route. Worried his career was over, he turned to Dr. Wayne Lucchetti at Coordinated Health. Dr. Lucchetti wanted to use a ligament from a cadaver and told Liberto he was confident that Liberto would be able to get back to his career.
At 3 months, I was running, like jogging, running. Yep, and then at like 6 months, I was like full, like pivoting on it and everything, and he said all this. A couple times it would flare up a little bit, but it would just be like, rested, you're doing a little too much, but everything, he was dead on.
After 8 months, the Bethlehem Brawler was back to brawling. This was his first ever professional boxing match at the Sands Event Center in Bethlehem, and you already know how that ended. Forged by the fires of life, Michael Liberto is ready to continue his career, and thanks to Coordinated Health, he's also helping another generation of brawlers.
I was shocked. I was like, so what, you just want to give money to... And it was awesome. They're like, it's all whatever you want to give it to, and you can name it whatever. And I decided to name it in honor of my stepfather, and we're going to give it to a Bethlehem Catholic wrestler.
Like a structure with bones of steel, John Fenstermacher's memory will stand tall in Bethlehem for a long time. Now his son, Michael Liberto, is forming his own legacy and following in his footsteps of competition and compassion.
Mike wanted to thank his sponsors, Coordinated Health, Vital Barbershop, All Weather HVAC, DMS Transport, Roma Restaurant, Breakaway Inc., Brian's & Sons, and Celtic Stone. After this break, we wrap things up with a story about a helicopter and a baseball field.
Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Better together.
Thanks for coming back to the conclusion of this episode of Out of Left Field. You can find anything on the internet. I found a website with 5 chapters on baseball field maintenance. They told you how to pull weeds and how to fertilize, but nowhere on that website did it mention a helicopter.
Being on the Valley West Little League grounds crew doesn't seem too bad. Riding that tractor looks pretty cool, and I don't mind raking when it's nice out. Wait a minute, it's a whole new ball game.
When I just got here, I saw the helicopter on the field, and I was like, whoa, what's happening? Is someone hurt or something? And then when I heard that they were just drying out the field, I thought that was actually really cool because I didn't want to play on a wet field like that.
Okay, that intro was a little dramatic, and I didn't mean to take away from what the Valley West Little League parents do to get the field ready for the kids on a regular basis. Because believe it or not, it's not every day a helicopter comes by to dry off the field.
How much manpower do you guys put into this field to get it ready? I mean, what do you guys do? Explain even what's going on now.
Well, we're out here before the season even starts, raking. We rake and we rake and we rake, and we pull weeds and we spread gravel, we spread Diamond Tex, which is the infield mix, and we rake. And we rake and we rake, and we roll the field, and we roll the infield. We pull all the weeds out of the warning track, we secure the signs, we redo the bullpens for the kids, fix the batting cage. Hundreds of hours.
There's always a game before the game with the dads out here.
Always a game before the game.
Is it a lot of money spent on this field to maintain it? Is it quite pricey?
It's expensive. We get a lot of guys that donate their time and materials. For instance, we had to put a new water line in this past fall, and one of our dads is a plumber. He donated the materials and the time, and a bunch of us just pulled on the line and got it done before the winter came. So we get a lot of stuff done out of the goodness of people's hearts.
Speaking of the goodness of people's hearts, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Okay, it's a helicopter being piloted by Mike Marcicano. He's here to improve field conditions in a hurry.
Let's talk about field conditions today. You said the kids could play on it without Mike maybe coming down, but it's a little squishy.
It's a little squishy. There's some soft areas. The downpour the other night overflowed the creek here, so we did have standing water on the field. Fortunately, we've had some breeze today, so that's helped dry it out, but the top few inches are a little soft.
Have you ever played on a soggy field before?
Yes.
What's it like?
Very muddy. If the ball is in the outfield, it's very hard to get the ball.
What would you say to the pilot for coming down and doing this for you guys?
I would say thank you because it's not every day that you get to see a helicopter fly above your baseball field.
Soggy field, no good. Does it stink playing on a soggy field?
Oh yeah, because then all those pop flies, they hit the ground and they don't really move, so it's hard to get a good play on them.
Mike Marcicano is a former Hazelton Little Leaguer, so he knows the pains of playing on a wet field. Being a former state police helicopter pilot, he knows the science of drying off a field with a piece of aviation equipment.
What's the science behind this? How does it work? Is it just the wind blowing around and drying it off?
Yeah, well, I mean, the tip speed of the blade is about 420 mile an hour, just under the speed of sound, about 150 mile. And it's got downdrafts of about 100 mile an hour wind. And the jet engine in the back, it kind of takes the hot exhaust from the helicopter. The blades are about 48 feet in diameter. So I can take I can dry the grass out relatively quick with it. I mean, between 6 and 10 feet above the ground. In 15 minutes, we'll dry the field out. What we're going to do is we've got to keep the nose of the helicopter into the wind. The wind right now up in Hazelton's blowing about 14 to 24 knots, about 28 mile an hour. It's not as bad down here. It's probably about 10 or 12 mile an hour. So we're going to keep the nose of the helicopter into the wind. We'll start up here, right around where the pitcher's mound is. I can reach home plate from there, and then I'll slowly back the helicopter up, and then I'll do a 360-degree pedal turn and get the outfield done, and then I'll get out of town.
Remember that scene in The Sandlot when Benny crushes a home run and it goes over the fence and into the kingdom of the beast? In the movie, the expressions on the kids' faces at that incredible moment look just like this. Yes, this helicopter drying the field is cool enough to be mentioned with one of the greatest sports movies of all time.
I was not expecting that, but when I saw it, I thought it was awesome, and I never knew that they would have done that.
Were you ever up in a plane or a helicopter before?
No.
No? You want to? I mean, are you interested in it?
Yeah.
A little nervous about it? I'm not a big flyer.
Yeah, I never went on one, but it's, I don't know.
What do you want to do when you grow up? Any idea now?
Not really. I have a couple things in mind, but for right now, it's like a Major League Baseball player.
Pilot?
Maybe, depends.
Do the kids ever thank you? Did you ever talk to the kids?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they'll call me, or sometimes I get a little card from them, so, I'm happy to do it for them.
And it's not just the kids who get a kick out of it.
Do you enjoy watching the helicopter come?
Of course, I'm a pilot. I love it.
Are you a pilot?
I'm a pilot. Yeah.
So you understand kind of what even goes into it?
A little bit. I'm not a helicopter pilot, but I do understand it.
Whether they understand the science behind it or not, these kids will remember this forever. 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 Now I want to watch The Sandlot while on a helicopter ride.
I want to thank all of you out there for watching the first season of Out of Left Field and all the players, coaches, fans, volunteers who shared their stories with us. We'll be back for season 2. Until then, take it easy, everyone.